It's not about finding an investor, it's about finding the right investor. As we put the power in the investor's hands.
This was relatively simple.
So the core challenges I think founders face when it comes to accessing capital is it's not about finding an investor, it's about finding the right investor. What most founders usually will do is they might identify a few investors they think will invest, but what they practically do is then scattergun. They send 20, 30, 40 decks to different investors. It's time inefficient and success rates are very low. Investors also don't like this. Investors don't like being spammed. We speak to investors who tell us they don't have the time to go through all these applications, that they spend more time saying no to founders than they do managing their own portfolio. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So we built the Demo Directory platform to try and solve these inefficiencies in the market. So a founder, instead of sending out the listing or their investment opportunity to different investors one by one, they can create a listing on our platform, and simply they can then get access to a scale audience of investors. They can be seen by more investors than they could probably manually go and attempt to outreach to. So as we put the power in the investor's hands. So we allow investors to come and log in. Investors can have search and filter functionality so they can see the sorts of deals that are interested to them. So if they're only interested in opportunities based in Manchester, or if they're only interested in opportunities in a certain sector or with a certain type of founder or with a certain check size, they only see the things that are relevant for them. I think the key point here for the investor is cutting the noise and keeping the signal. This means positive for the investor is it takes less time for them to identify the things they are interested in. Once they're on the platform, they can have a look at the listings provided that come through the searches. They can go into more detail, find out whether they're EIS registered, SEIS registered, find out about the team, about what the success of the business is so far. They can watch demo videos or even see images of the team or even products. And the power again remains in the investor's hand. It enables them to connect with the founders that they like. So it stops the spamming, which is the big problem. It means that investors can see things that are more relevant to them, and it means that founders can get in front of the right investor.
And it makes it quite easy for them as well, because it can be a daunting task to find, the right investor, like you say. And I'm aware that it's been in newsletter format, and just about 6 weeks ago, you launched the full platform version. So I guess how has that been going? I'm assuming you've seen success with the newsletter. So yeah, talk to me a little bit about the growth there.
We ran it as a pilot for about 18 to 20 months as a newsletter, as you've identified. We had something like 640 odd founders come through to the platform with no marketing, 385 investors signed up. So we knew there was a demand from both sides of the market. I think there's some great statistics about companies actually going on to raise capital. What we were essentially doing was we were making sure that good companies and good quality investors were in the right marketplace together for the right reasons. And we had, through our pilot, 49.3% of our founders who demoed in front of an investor raised within 6 months, which is way above what you see in the market. We also saw a great indication, or some great statistics around founders from outside of London or outside the Golden Triangle accessing capital. There's a high demand there, but we know that a lot of the capital goes to people based in Oxford, London and Cambridge. We saw a high application rate from diverse and female founders as well. And the great statistic, actually, not only did we see high numbers of applications, but we saw high numbers of investments as well. So great. So the pilot demonstrated enough that there was demand for this proposition. So you're right, we invested into it, made it into a platform to be able to manage scale. And yeah, the platform has been launched, as you said, I think 6 weeks ago. To date, I think we've got 204 founders live with opportunities as we speak. Just about 140 investors signed up in this first 6 week period. And yeah, we're getting connections happening now. And the great thing about it is it's entirely free for everyone, free for founders, free for investors. So we're making sure there's really no barrier of access for whether you're a founder or an investor to be involved in this marketplace. We just want to make sure that the right founders and the right investors are included.
It was a great experience working with Demo Directory. It was really easy to engage with the platform. It was free, massively important for pre-revenue companies that are working on their concept. And ultimately, you put your pitch on there. You're very clear about your sector, your stage, and your opportunity, which I've got to say saves a lot of time. I mean, there's some really complicated onboarding processes out there with some of the online funding platforms, and this was relatively simple. One, it was free and relatively simple, and secondly, we found one of our largest investors through a contact through the platform. So someone found us introduced us to someone else and they ended up being an investor. And that all happened really quickly. So we had a great experience. I mean, I'm sure other people, I'm not going to say it's always going to be easy for everyone, but if you go with your best foot forward and be really, really clear about what your business represents, why do you exist? What's the reason you exist? What problem are you solving? And they always say you've got to have a problem and solution, but just be achingly clear about that yourself, because there's dark times and there's up times through this journey. And if you're so clear about why you're doing this in the first place, the why of your business, you will have the resilience to carry on. And that's the best advice I can give to anyone.